Ladies and gentlemen, there comes a point in every man's life where he feels the pressure to bend, to compromise, to adjust himself so much for a woman that he begins to forget who he really is. And I want to tell you something today that most men don't realize until it's too late. When you lose yourself in the name of love, you don't actually gain her respect, you lose it. A man's identity is not just his name, his job, or his hobbies. It is the sum of his values, his beliefs, his character, his ambitions, and the way he carries himself when no one is watching. Identity is your backbone. It is your essence. And when you hand it over, when you strip yourself of it just to please someone else, you are left hollow, empty, and replaceable. Let me ask you, have you ever seen a man who once walked tall, confident, ambitious, but then, in the name of love, became someone unrecognizable? He stopped pursuing his goals. He stopped leading. He stopped challenging himself. Instead, he made his entire existence about her, her happiness, her moods, her approval. He thought that by giving up his identity, he was proving his love. But what actually happened? Slowly, her attraction disappeared. Slowly, her respect dissolved. Why? Because the very thing that drew her to him in the first place, his strength, his individuality, his purpose, was sacrificed at the altar of her comfort. Never lose your identity, because when you do, you become dependent on her for validation. And dependency kills desire. Women may say, let me ask you something. Why do you think women are drawn to men who seem unbothered, men who don't run after them, men who aren't constantly begging for attention? It's not arrogance, it's not cruelty, it's psychology. Human nature is wired to value what is scarce, what is rare, what requires effort to earn. The moment you are always available, always texting, always calling, always trying to prove yourself, you no longer look like a prize. You look like an option. Chasing constantly is rooted in insecurity. When a man fears losing a woman, he overcompensates. He showers her with attention, gifts, messages, and validation. At first, she might enjoy it. She might smile at the effort. But over time, something inside her shifts. She begins to feel that you need her more than she needs you. And that imbalance destroys attraction. Because here's the truth. Women are not attracted to men who make them the center of their lives. They are attracted to men who make their own lives the center of their lives. A man who has purpose, goals, ambition, he doesn't have time to chase. His presence is a privilege, not a pursuit. His attention is, I want you to picture something. Imagine you are running after a butterfly in a field. The harder you chase, the further it flies away. You trip, you stumble, you exhaust yourself, and yet the butterfly keeps escaping. But the moment you stop running, the moment you stand still, grounded, calm, that same butterfly may land right on your shoulder. This is how attraction works. When you chase, you repel. When you remain steady, you attract. But men today are programmed to believe the opposite. They've been told, if you love her, prove it. If you want her, fight for her. If you're serious, never let her go. And while there's truth in commitment, there's danger in desperation. Women do not respect desperation. Think about it. If a man is constantly chasing, what does it say about him? It says his time is not valuable. It says he has nothing better to do. It says his world revolves around her approval. And whether consciously or subconsciously, she starts to feel suffocated. What once felt flattering now feels heavy. What once made her smile now makes her roll her eyes. Because when a man chases too much, she no longer feels chosen, she feels trapped. Here's the psychology behind it. Attraction thrives on uncertainty, on mystery, on polarity. A woman needs to feel that you are slightly out of reach, that she has to earn your attention just as much as you want hers. If you remove all the chase on her part, if you do 100% of the pursuing, if you give her everything without her having to invest, she will not value it. People never value what they don't work for. Now let's dive deeper into why men chase. Most of the time, it's not about love, it's about fear. Fear of losing her, fear of being alone, fear of not being enough. And fear is a weak foundation for love. When you operate from fear, you surrender your power. You say, I will do anything to keep you. But here's the harder you push, the faster she runs, because no woman wants to feel like she is your lifeline. She wants to feel like she is your partner. Look at strong relationships. Look at the men women admire. They are not men who chase endlessly. They are men who lead, men who pursue with purpose, but also men who hold back enough to let her invest too. There is pursuit, yes, but it is balanced. There is interest, yes, but it is not obsession, because obsession suffocates, but attraction breathes. I'll give you an example. A man meets a woman he really likes. He feels a spark. Instead of letting things grow naturally, he panics. He starts texting her every morning, every afternoon, every night. He floods her with compliments. He buys her gifts. He rearranges his schedule to always be available. At first, she might feel flattered, but soon she notices that he is more interested in her than she is in him. She realizes that she holds all the power, and the moment she feels that imbalance, her desire begins to fade. She pulls back. She takes longer to reply. She makes excuses. And what does he do? He chases harder. The harder he chases, the faster she runs, until finally she is gone. Not because he was a bad man, not because he didn't care, but because he didn't understand the balance of attraction. Never chase constantly. You see, a man who chases constantly sends a message without saying a word. I don't believe I'm enough. I don't believe you would stay if I stopped proving myself. I don't trust that my presence alone is valuable. And that insecurity is felt. A woman doesn't have to hear you say it. She feels it in your actions. She feels it in the way you always call first, the way you always rearrange your plans, the way you never let her wonder where she stands. And that lack of mystery kills desire. Do you know what's more powerful than chasing? Pulling back. Not as a game, not as manipulation, but as a demonstration of self-respect. When you pull back, you communicate, I am interested, but I am not desperate. I value you, but I also value myself. I want you, but I don't need you to survive. That energy is magnetic. That balance creates attraction. Women want to feel chosen, yes, but they also want to feel that they earned your choice. If you give it all away without requiring anything in return, you rob her of the chance to invest in you. And when she doesn't invest, she doesn't value. Think about it. Why do people treasure diamonds? Because they are rare. Why do people respect leaders? Because not everyone can be one. Why do women admire men with purpose? Because they are not easy to find. Scarcity breeds value, but when you are constantly chasing, constantly available, constantly proving, you are no longer rare, you are common. Never chase constantly. Here's another layer. Chasing constantly doesn't just hurt your attraction, it hurts your identity. You begin to lose yourself. You stop focusing on your goals, your purpose, your growth, because your entire mind is consumed with her. You think about what to text, what to say, how to make her smile, how to keep her interested. You're no longer living for you. You're living for her. And that is the fastest way to lose both her and yourself. Let me ask you, what kind of man do you want to be? The one who is always running, always begging, always proving? Or the one who walks in his purpose, steady, confident, unshaken, and allows the right woman to walk beside him? Because chasing constantly is not strength. It is weakness dressed up as effort. Real strength is knowing your worth and refusing to give it away. A man who never chases constantly is not cold, he is controlled. He knows when to pursue and when to pause. He knows when to show interest and when to let her invest. He knows that love is not about running marathons, it's about walking together in rhythm. But here's the challenge: to stop chasing constantly, you must be willing to face loss. You must be willing to accept that if she doesn't choose you willingly, she was never truly yours. That's the truth most men don't want to hear. They think, if I just try harder, she'll see my value. No, if she cannot see your value without you proving it constantly, then she never valued you to begin with. See, attraction is powerful. Chemistry is intoxicating. The excitement of meeting someone new can blind even the strongest man. But when you allow that excitement to make you give everything before anything has been proven, you set yourself up for pain. Her the center of your world before she has shown you that she deserves that position. And once you do that, you hand over all of your power. Let me ask you this: how many times have you seen a man fall hard, fall fast, and fall alone? He's planning the future. He's imagining forever. He's thinking about marriage, about children, about a life together, and she's just thinking, we're getting to know each other. He's already given his soul away, while she's still deciding if she even likes him. That imbalance is deadly. Never overinvest emotionally too early. Why? Because investment must be mutual. Relationships thrive when there is balance, when both people are giving, when both people are choosing, when both people are building. But when you overinvest before she has invested anything, you create an uneven dynamic. She becomes the prize and you become the pursuer. She becomes the chooser and you become the one waiting to be chosen. That's not love. That's desperation dressed as devotion. Here's the psychology behind it. Human beings value what they earn. We respect what we work for. And love is no different. If you hand over your heart too quickly, if you give everything before she has earned even a part of it, she will not value it. Not because she is cruel, not because she doesn't care, but because psychologically we cannot deeply appreciate what we did not have to work for. Think about it. If you walk into a store and someone hands you a diamond for free, would you value it the same way as the diamond you worked hard, saved money, and sacrificed for? Of course not. It's not about the diamond. It's about the process of earning it. The same applies in relationships. When you overinvest too early, she doesn't feel she earned your heart. She feels she was handed it. And what is handed freely is rarely valued deeply. It comes from a place of hope. Men believe that if they show how much they care, if they prove their loyalty up front, if they pour out their emotions, she will feel secure and she will stay. But here's the truth. Security doesn't come from how much you give. It comes from how much she chooses. You cannot force choice with effort. You cannot buy love with early devotion. You cannot earn respect by rushing emotional investment. When you give too much too soon, you don't make her feel special. You make yourself look unbalanced. You show her that you are willing to hand over your heart without requiring her to earn it. And subconsciously, she begins to wonder, if he gives this much to me so quickly, does he give this same energy to every woman? How can something so valuable be given so easily? Never overinvest emotionally too early. Think about the early stages of dating. In the beginning, both people are presenting their best selves. She's showing you her charm, her beauty, her confidence. You're showing her your ambition, your humor, your strength, but you don't know the depths yet. You don't know how she handles conflict. You don't know how she reacts under stress. You don't know her loyalty when tested, her character when tempted, her discipline when challenged. And yet, so many men give their entire emotional world to a woman they don't actually know. That is like like handing someone the keys to your house before you even know if they're trustworthy enough to step inside. You don't do that in any other area of life. You don't give a stranger your bank account information. You don't give someone your deepest secrets without trust. But with women, men often rush. Why? Because they confuse infatuation with connection. Infatuation is quick, love is slow. Infatuation blinds, love reveals. Infatuation is easy, love takes time. And if you cannot tell the difference, you will always overinvest too early. Here's the reality: true connection takes time to build. It requires consistency, patience, shared experiences, and mutual effort. A woman must earn your emotions just as much as you want to earn hers. If you skip that process, if you try to fast forward, you rob yourself of the chance to see who she really is. Never overinvest emotionally too early. Let me paint a picture. A man meets a woman. She is beautiful, charming, everything he thought he wanted. Within a week, he's calling her the one. Within 2 weeks, he's imagining marriage. Within a month, he's telling her she's his everything. But what happens 3 months later when he discovers things he didn't know? Maybe she's not as loyal as she appeared. Maybe she's not as kind as she seemed. Maybe she's carrying wounds that she hasn't healed. Suddenly he feels betrayed. But the truth is, he betrayed himself by giving his emotions away before reality revealed itself. This is why patience is power. A wise man doesn't rush to give his heart. He observes, he tests, he allows time to reveal truth. He invests slowly, proportionally, in response to her investment. If she gives consistency, he gives more. If she shows loyalty, he deepens his trust. If she proves her character, he reveals more of his emotions. That balance creates respect. That balance creates attraction. That balance creates love that lasts. But when you overinvest too early, you destroy that balance. You become emotionally naked before she's even opened the door. And once you've given everything, you have nothing left to hold back. That makes you predictable, and predictability in the early stages kills excitement. Never overinvest emotionally too early. Here's the harsh reality: women respect men who pace themselves, not men who rush, not men who beg, not men who fall too fast. Because when you pace yourself, you show discipline, you show self-control, you show that your emotions are valuable, and you don't give them away to just anyone. That scarcity creates value, but when you give too much too soon, you show that your emotions are cheap, that your loyalty is automatic, that your devotion doesn't require her to earn it. And no woman deep